Hey mama, are you feeling overwhelmed? Like no matter how hard you try, you're still not the mom you know you were meant to be? I get it, and I'm here to tell you you were designed for more, and together we can get you there. Welcome to the Nature to Nurture podcast. I'm Tiffany, an early childhood specialist, advocate, and mom on this journey with you. I've spent years supporting families and working with children in those critical first 5 years of life, where every moment counts. But here's the thing. The same caregiving practices that help 0 to 5-year-olds thrive are the very same practices that help us, as adults, live purposeful, connected, and thriving lives. It all begins with intention, mindfulness, and showing up for ourselves and our kids. In this podcast, I'll help you discover simple tips and practices for raising your little ones with intention and care, while also guiding you to become the caregiver that you've always wanted to be, the one that you dream of. Each week, I'll share stories from my own life, some practical strategies, and research-backed insights to help you slow down, reconnect, and find joy in the everyday moments. Whether it's creating a bit of time for unstructured play, setting up your nurturing routines, or taking care of yourself as you care for your kids. This is the place for you. If you're ready to embrace the kind of motherhood that feels aligned with who you truly are, be sure to follow the podcast, leave a review, and join our supportive community. We are here to lift each other up every step of the way. All right, Mama, let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, and welcome back to the Nature to Nurture podcast. Today we are going to be diving into the 5th gift in this series. We're going to be talking about the gift of letting go today. I'm super glad that you're here with me today. This is a podcast that is all about purposeful parenting, meaningful connection, and ultimately living in alignment with what feels good for you, for your family, and for your soul. So far this week, we've been talking about some incredible gifts. These are all gifts that we can give ourselves and our families, and these are gifts that we ultimately need in order to create more joy, more connection, and more peace in our lives. We've covered self-acceptance, grace, boundaries, and connection. These are the gifts that remind us that we don't need to be perfect parents. We just need to be present parents. And today, we're going to be unwrapping another powerful gift, the gift of letting go. Now, I want to start this episode with a quick question. Have you ever tried so hard to control every detail of your day, only to end up feeling completely drained, frustrated, and disconnected? Trust me, I've been there, and I know it is exhausting. But here's the real truth. Control is not the answer. It's the problem. Letting go is where the magic will ultimately happen. I remember just a couple of weeks ago, we were prepping for a family holiday party. And let's go back. Rewind. Let's go way back. It actually started where I was going to go do some work. I had to get some work done, so I got up early to go and get this work done because we had the holiday party, right? I had this rigid schedule I had to stick to. So I got up early to go do my job. As I'm driving, I hit a deer, and that took an hour out of what I was already planning. So that was the start of me feeling like, oh goodness, here we go, a day that is not going to go on the schedule. And I started to get a little frustrated, but I took a breath, let it go. I was like, all I can do is take care of this. Let's take care of this. I went, I did my clean. That was the job that I had to do. I came back home, and I was still running a little bit late. Since I was running late, I had this, this big plan that for some reason I thought I was going to be able to clean the house after I just got done doing a clean before we went to go and do this party. As I was doing that, I was getting stressed out. I was getting pushy. I was not a fun mom to be about. My kids, my husband, they all told me, why are you so cranky? This is not cool. And I took a breath, I I did want to control it. That was my first instinct, right? I was pushing everybody to get back into control, to get back onto that schedule. But instead, I stopped, I took a breath, and I let it go. I remember I was actually standing at the dryer trying to fold some clothes when I was like, why am I pushing everybody for this? We're supposed to be going and having fun. It's a party, relax, it's enjoyable. It doesn't have to be something that you have to perform for. Ooh, that's the piece right there, performing for it, right? So I took a deep breath, I let it go, and in that moment at the dryer, I was able to see it's Christmas season. We're home with our family, we're going to have a good time. And I let it go. I could then switch my head so that I can look for the joy, so that I could be fully present. You see, surrendering to the chaos was actually the most joyful choice I could make in that time. And today, that's what we're going to be talking about. Learning to release that control, embrace your imperfection, and make space for the joy and the connection that you really want in your family. Here's the thing about control. We think that it keeps everything running smoothly, but in reality, it actually is creating tension. It's blocking connection, and it is ultimately stifling creativity for us and for our kids. And when we try to control everything, how our kids are behaving, how our day is unfolding, how other people are seeing us, we're actually setting ourselves up for frustration. Life is messy, and kids are messy, right? But here's the good news. The mess is where the magic is actually happening. Letting go is a gift because it creates this space for joy, this space for growth, this space for deeper connection with our kids. And all of that usually has to come from something that is unplanned, right? It ties back to the other gifts that we've talked about. We've talked about self-acceptance, right? Letting go means that you're going to be accepting that you don't have to be a perfect parent or a perfect human. Because in fact, to be human is to be imperfect, right? The second gift was grace. We talked about what it means to give ourselves and our kids permission to make mistakes and love no matter what those mistakes are, even when it's not deserved. The third gift that we talked about was boundaries. We talked about how letting go doesn't mean that we are not setting boundaries. It means that we are stepping back after we set them, and we're trusting our kids to navigate within them. Remember me giving that example of the rock wall? You can tell your children you're welcome to jump off of that rock wall if you can land on 2 feet. That's going to keep you safe. If not, let's go lower and let's try something lower, right? So give those boundaries and then allow them to experience it. Trust me, once they get that fall and they land on their hands and their feet, they're going to be like, ow, that hurt my hands. And be like, yeah, remember what I said? Let's practice a little bit lower. Reinforcing those boundaries while letting go. And then the last gift that we talked about, gift number 4, was the gift of connection. Now this one, when we let go of trying to control your children, control yourself, control the environment, when we let go of that control, we make room for trust and authenticity to grow in our relationships. You see, letting go isn't about giving up. It's about truly surrendering to what is. The imperfect, the messy beauty of life with your kids, of life with yourself, of life with your partner, and realizing that you do not have to fix it or control it at all. Just let it be. So let's talk about how we can actually do this, because I know as parents, letting go can feel really uncomfortable. So here are 3 mindset shifts that I want to give you that have helped me to really embrace that surrender. And these are 3 things that I am still working on continuously. All of these gifts are gifts that keep on giving, and gifts that I hope you keep on receiving as well. Now remember, perfection isn't the goal. That's mindset shift number 1. Again, perfection isn't the goal. Your kids do not need a perfect parent. They need a present one. Perfection is impossible. And often when we are striving for perfection, it creates stress for everyone. Letting go of perfection means that you are actually giving yourself permission to show up as you are, and you're giving your kids that step too, right? You're saying, come as you are. I love you. I want to see you. I want to be with you. And you're saying, here I am. Love me. Be with me. You're telling yourself, I love you. Really, truly giving yourself that grace again. So here's the step. Take out a piece of paper, and I want you to write down one area where you are holding on to perfection. Maybe it's how clean your house needs to be, or maybe it's how your kids dress or behave in public. I know I gave up that dress one a long time ago. And ask yourself, what would happen if I let this go? What would happen to you? What would happen to your kids? What would happen to everybody involved in your family? All right, mindset shift number 2, release that outcome. One of the hardest parts of parenting is wanting everything to turn out a certain way. You're like, we're getting to that, right? We want our kids to be happy, successful, well-mannered. But the truth is, we don't control the outcome. We can only support the process. Sometimes my daughter opens her mouth and says things, and I'm like, Rah! It might be true, but it's not the right time to say that, right? And I have to remember that I can't control what she does, but I can help to shape the values she has, the practices she has, and her knowledge of how to be around others, right? The next time that your child is struggling, I want you to pause and ask yourself, in this time, right now, how can I support their growth rather than just controlling their success? We often look at the outcome. We think that the outcome is what we're working toward. But remember, it's all about the journey, because there's stuff after the outcome. What are you building them up to? What are you instilling in them? What are you instilling in you? All right, third mindset shift is to embrace the mess. Life with kids is messy. Sometimes that's physical mess, right? Like literally there are spills all over the place. You walk in and you don't understand how within 5 minutes the whole room got hit by a tornado. I don't get it. There are spills. There are tantrums. There are moments of chaos. The emotions, let me tell you, those preteen emotions have got me going crazy lately. But instead of fighting it, what if you just leaned into it? Instead of saying, I can't believe you're having those pre-hormonal attitudes right now, why can't you say, wow, you have a lot of feelings. What's going on? Let's identify it. Let's talk about it. How can I support you during this time? These are some appropriate ways to express your feelings when you're feeling that way. This is how you can keep us happy, healthy, and safe as a family, and how you can do that for yourself when you're going through this, right? So how can you really lean in and work on support and growth and not just the outcome that you want to see? Embrace that mess that you're in. So today, actionable step, I want you to choose one moment. Maybe it's bedtime, maybe it's mealtime, and instead of trying to control it, just observe. Just be present. And literally, you could literally just say what you are seeing as you are there. That way you're not trying to change anything. You're just stating, right? You're just observing, being present. Who knows? You might be a little bit surprised by what you actually notice. I'm going to share with you just one more quick story about how letting go has transformed my parenting and has transformed my children's life. All right, so a few days ago, my kiddos were responsible for cooking dinner, and we had one of those easy, I say easy because it has all of the things, but we had one of those easy dinners from HelloFresh, right? It has your protein, it has an instruction card, it has all of the ingredients except for salt and pepper and oil included in the bag. Like, should be pretty easy to follow. So it was the kids' turn to cook dinner together. I got the bag out, I got all of the stuff out for them to get started, and they were arguing with each other. And I was like, "Rah, I know you guys got this. You can work together. You can figure it out." And I stepped back. I listened to them argue a little bit, but when I came back, it was beautiful. They were actually standing side by side, chopping up vegetables to make the dinner. And I was like, wow, I love how you guys are working together. You've got this. And they started having a good time with each other. They were laughing. The dinner did end up missing half of the ingredients. The meat did not get seasoned one single bit. They forgot the orange, all of the fresh herbs, the chicken broth or whatever that needed to go on it. But that's okay. They did it. They were happy. They prepared dinner, and they were so happy about the dinner that they prepared. And it actually tasted pretty good, right? By surrendering that control over how they were working together, how they were speaking to each other. I did put a little bit, remember to speak kindly, don't speak ugly, but I let them kind of sort that out, giving them that space to grow. I gave myself the gift of seeing that they are capable of doing it, that they are truly growing up to be kind, helpful children, and I could see them in a whole new way. Letting go really is a beautiful gift. It'll give you a little peace, and it'll give you some great memories. Now I'd love for you to take a moment and just reflect on your own parenting journey. I've got 3 questions to guide you. Number 1, what is one area in your parenting where you're holding on to control? And what would happen if you let it go? Number 2, how can you create space for flexibility and imperfection in your day-to-day life? And number 3, what's one small step that you can take today to practice surrender? I would really love to hear your thoughts on this. So you can share them with me. Leave me an audio message at SpeakPipe. You can go to speakpipe.com/nature-to-nurture. I would love to hear your thoughts. You can also jump on over to the Facebook community group if you want to type rather than leave me an audio message. But who knows? Leave me a message, give me your questions, and you might even hear your voice or your story in an upcoming episode. Now, if this podcast message today truly spoke to you, I would be extremely grateful if you could share this with a friend who might need the reminder to let go. And if you are loving this podcast, please take a moment to follow it, rate it, review it. It helps so much when I get to see those messages of other parents who are needing this. And it helps when other parents are looking for these gifts and they can see your reviews on how it's helped them. And again, don't forget, join us over on Nature to Nurture community on Facebook, where we are connecting, sharing, and supporting each other on this journey. I super appreciate you spending your time with me today, and remember, life is messy. No surprise, but the mess is where the magic happens. So until tomorrow, take a deep breath, let go, and nurture what matters most.